Welcome back to the on rest and to another edition of NXT Out of 10. NXT promised a packed card with multiple matches and top stars in action. Braun and Baron cashed in their Dusty Cup opportunity, and yeah, there was much more. Carmelo Hayes will be against the unpredictable Joe Gacy, and yeah, lots more. But we start things off with Noah and Ori Mensah versus Von Wagner and Mr. Stone. Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend played the difference makers in this match. They distracted the ref to allow Ori Mensah to hit Von with a chop block to steal a cheap pinfall victory. It was an okay tag match that had some crowd hype behind it, but Wagner and Stone have grown popular, but there wasn't much interesting action. Stone can wrestle more than he did, but he was playing the inexperienced manager. The big problem was the metaphor again picking up the win in a familiar fashion, and it's consistently about interference, which is deflating. Wagner has often been booked as a loser despite his size. His babyface turn seemed like a good chance to improve his fortunes, but it only seems to be getting worse. However, there's a clear plan soon for Wagner and Stone, otherwise the crowd excitement they have built will unfortunately dissipate. So yeah, this gets a 6 out of 10 from me. I thought, yeah, it was alright, but at the same time, definitely had the potential to be much better than it was. Before we got Ridge Holland taking on Gallus in a gauntlet match, and Ridge Holland hit Northern Brute picture in picture on Wolfgang to pick up the victory. Joe Coffey attacked Holland while Mark was a legal man, causing a DQ. Gallus tried to attack, but Holland knocked him all three out with a steel chair. Officials had to stop him. Holland is a good ring worker, especially with talent that plays to his strengths. His chemistry with Wolfgang, especially Mark Coffey, is obvious. It's just a shame that it was a kind of a lame finish here, to be honest. This is a perfect chance to establish how dangerous Gallus can be, wearing down Holland until he can no longer compete. Instead, he technically defeated the entire group because they refused to work a match that favoured them heavily. The booking has been awkward for Holland, and yeah, it feels like he's going to need some time to really get over in the NXT universe. So yeah, I can kind of limit this at 6 out of 10. Before it's time for Load Device versus Tatum Paxley. Encouraged by Valkyria, Paxley kicked out the roundhouse kick and spinning back fist, but she was forced to tap out to Low Device's head scissors choke. It would have been nice to see a bit more from these two, but the story of the squash was executed pretty well. Paxley fought extra hard once her champion arrived to watch this closely. However, Valkyria is going to need to help Paxley figure it out in order to start picking up the wins. The two could come an interesting tag team in the women's division if a Dusty Classic started soon. Vice looked good and showcased an impressive submission to her Arsenal. With each performance, she seems to be showing more of her potential. But yeah, I don't know. I still feel like the Vice the Paxley Valkyria storyline is very weird at the same time. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Before it's time for Adriana Rizzo versus Jada Parker. Rizzo showed toughness in her fight with Parker, but she was completely outmatched. Parker took her down with a clothesline. It was a classic early wrestler in NXT that would not be allowed on Raw or SmackDown. Both Rizzo and Parker are too green for this spot, and to be honest, it kind of showed. This is especially true with Parker, who was stumbling over what looks to be in his signature offense. It was ugly back and forth that didn't really help. Rizzo did not do much to try and get the win. She sold the story of her action fully with her acting. However, she will find the offense to match her personality. Based on immediate potential, the wrong woman won, but this could help an underdog story for Rizzo as she tries to figure out how to build in the coming weeks. So yeah, for this alone, I can only give it a 5 out of 10 at the absolute tops, really. Before it's time for Carmelo Hayes versus Joe Gacy. After a tough fight from Gacy, Carmelo reversed upside down into a double knee face buster and nothing but net for the win. It was a fine match between two good wrestlers who should have been better. The story was told poorly as Melo continues to work the way he has done, building a heat with the fans. The problem with Gacy continues to dominate his matches while being booked as a face. While he was the power wrestler, Melo needs to keep his momentum in his first heel contest in years. The eccentricities of Gacy are getting over though. The crowd is reacting to him most. What he does weird things like smiling maniacally underneath the ring. Obviously the right man won. Melo is building up his resume ahead of challenging Ilya again, and no one but the Man of Dragon or the Trick Williams should really beat him. So yeah, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. But moving on then to Obafemi, who put over Dragon Lee as a worthy challenger, who was no match for him. Lexis King challenged Femi and a champion arranged for next week. King tried to lay out Femi, but got sent reading with the champion. Femi's still finding his rhythm on the mic, understandably. He's getting better with each promo. The opposite has been true of King, who does not sound quite as comfortable in the WWE style. This is not the most exciting title match follow-up for Femi, but it'll be an interesting test and see how he does, kind of with a tougher opponent, you could say. Femi should be a variety of opponents in the coming months, testing himself as a fresh act. He can build his legacy quickly, even if his next title defence, it could well be a bit of a dud. But yeah, I thought maybe not the most exciting, but well, let's just see how the match goes. But moving on into Kiana James versus Brendan Reese. Kiana James got a little too cocky, allowing Reese to take over the action early. However, 401k and a bankruptcy sealed the victory for James. This was forgettable in familiar NXT fashion. This was a squash match where the loser did most of the work. Reese is a work in progress. She's figuring it out, but was out of her depth against James. However, combining her work with her consistent promo work backstage, she has looked more poised and ready than most of her peers in the women's division. James needs to step it up though, you probably say, because a fresh couple woman could easily pass her by if she doesn't kind of show more in the coming weeks. She should be considered in the title picture soon, really, based on her development. But yeah, for this match, unfortunately, gets a 5 out of 10. Before it's time for the family versus the Wolf Dogs for the tag team titles, Corbin was flying around the ring to save the match and passionate about winning gold in WWE again. It paid off as he set Bron Breakker to spear stacks for the win. This was by far the best thing on the show. Bron and Baron walked like a true tag team, and they showed the allegiance that has dominated the division over the past year. Tony D worked about like it was the most important in his career, and it may have been. Since it's the second time the family have lost the titles, the Don may not hold gold again for a while. However, the future is still bright for the Don and the Underboss, who remain two of the best characters in NXT. However, it's obvious Corbin and Breakker were the hotter tag team throughout. The Wolf Dogs are an interesting pairing, as they haven't quite turned heel and continue to more like baby faces together and fully embrace the role even after they lost the gold and head to the main roster. So yeah, this gets a 7 out of 10 from me. I thought a really fun match. For me, probably the right result as well. Really excited to see what Bron and Baron can do. They kind of do have that old couple potential here, and that really worked, like I say, in a fun match. So yeah, let's get a 7 out of 10 from me. Overall, NXT gets 6 out of 10 from me this week. I thought, yeah, it was kind of an up and down show this week. There's some really good matches on there, like the main event, for example, but then there were some bits that for me didn't quite click maybe as they would have hoped. So yeah, a bit of a mixed show this week, but I'll give it a 6 out of 10, I reckon. Yeah. Guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now. That'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.